Okay, so my last video when I did the Dogman story and I made it up, and I said I made it up at the end because it was actually a story. So, but a lot of people like that. So I'm gonna tell you about a weird incident that I have that could have been a cryptid, could have been just some kind of, you know, weird animal, something. But it's gonna be two parts because I'm gonna tell you my side of it, which isn't very much, and then I'm gonna have my friend come on and have him tell you the things that he saw that correlated with that incident. So here's my side. So my friend calls me and he tells me that because he owns chickens, he's kind of out in the country, right? And he tells me that like some of his chickens, have been eaten, and I'm like, well, it's you know probably coyotes or there's all kinds of things. But he was like, yeah, except for it carried them off. And like it kind of picked them as they were going. And it carried several chickens off. So I was like, yeah, that's a little bit different. I'm sure that there's animals that could do that naturally. But to carry like several off, that's interesting. So, and it left a trail for it's probably like half a mile, probably half a mile, and so I'm like, all right, well, let's go. I'll be up there. Let's check it out, right? So I go up there, like we go in his backyard. He shows me what what it looked like. There were some impressions in the grass that were actually uh, pretty decent size, and I mean it could have been like a hobo walk, but it didn't look like footprints. It looked like animal footprints, like an animal track, or not quite an animal track. Like it just how it like knocks the grass over and it's lays flat, so you can kind of make out a footprint, but yeah. So, anyways, so then he's like, oh, there's about a half a mile trail. And I was like, show me where this trail goes. Like, just being curious. So we start walking down the county road. We walk all the way down this road, and we get about a good half a mile, and like you can still see some of the feathers and stuff, and yeah. So as we're walking though, um, this gray car like sees two black guys walking in the country, and they freak out. So, and I'm not gonna really say in the area that this is in, but and this is this is just you know how the story goes. So they freak out, and there's this white woman. She's jogging like nothing's wrong, like not paying no mind to us, not paying any mind to anything. Well, that gray car hurries up. It's like a gray SUV. It hurries up and says something to her. I don't know what it said, but all of a sudden she turns around and she starts sprinting the other direction, like as if like her life depended on it. And then so we see the gray car go, and then we see, and then after a little time pass, we see a sheriff car go past. It's a white one, and then nothing happens, and then another white one comes by, and he actually just waves at us, and we wave. All right, so then by this time we realize something's up, something weird, right? So then we walk all the way back. We get a few feet from his house, and the sheriff car pulls up in this it's a county brownie, right? And the first thing he says is, we got reports that you guys are out here walking around. And like I look at Ron kind of looks at me. We were like, well, that's not really a crime because we were on a county road. We didn't go in anybody else's yard or anything. We were actually on the county road. So, and we weren't like looking around people's houses or anything like that. And well, my friend was a little bit ahead of me, and he actually was on his property, and like I wasn't even thinking. Like I just, I stopped talking to him, and like you could just feel the uneasiness, and then like he stops and he's like, "Are you guys armed?" Now, I live in Indiana, and if you know anything about Indiana, like almost everybody's armed. Like no duh, like you know where you live, like, but and then the first thing he did is he freaks out and he puts his hand on his gun. He's like freaking out, and I'm like, whoa! And I put my hand up. I'm like, hey, like cause I'm not trying to die today, and like that was my reaction. My friend's reaction was like he was already thinking like if this dude like wrongly shoots me, I'm shooting him. Like at that point, there ain't no going back, and police can commit crimes too. So just because they have that badge doesn't give them the authority to commit a crime or harm anyone wrongfully. So you should remember that as a citizen, that there's a time you can defend yourself against like anybody. Like if they're in the wrong and it's a criminal thing and it's black and white, like yeah, lay them down, because at that point they're criminals too. And I'm not advocating for shooting police or anything like that. I'm saying that if anyone's like is acting in a criminal manner and your life is on the line, like sometimes it's better to deal with the situation and sort it out later. But anyways, moving forward. I know, that was just, I got bogged down in the wrong place. But yeah, and that was pretty much, I mean, that's how that ended. I mean, I eventually, like, my gun permit, showed him my gun permit, and Ron was on his property and gave him his ID or something like that, ID number, and he ran it, and then he realized that he was on, that was actually where Ron lives, and then his complete demeanor changed. And so, like, I tell this story because, like, yes, there is times when shit like that happens, but it doesn't happen all the time. And, like, I'd say, like, 99% of my interactions with police have been, like, fairly, like, normal, like, not even hostile. But moving on. So that happened, and a few days pass or whatever, and then we find these weird footprints in. There was some snow, but the snow had kind of, it had started melting and stuff. But we found these footprints, these weird footprints in the snow, and they looked like it was probably like a big cat, possibly, or it was either, well, maybe not a big cat, because it was hard to tell. It could have been the lights are automatic, so it could have been a big dog as well. Yeah. So the prints were kind, because the snow was melting, so it was kind of hard to tell. And I'm not a master tracker. Like I read a book once. So yeah, that's my side of that story, and yeah, I'll let Ron tell what he knows, some of his incidents, and why we thought it could possibly been a Dogman at one point, or some kind of cryptid. So that's my vague story. I also got a few ghost stories from like places I've worked and what I heard from people who worked there, and then some of them might have been my experience, maybe, but I'm not gonna let you know if it was mine or somebody else's. Yeah, so like, subscribe, share my videos, please, and please watch my other interviews and like some of the stuff on like the ghetto. You may agree with me, you may disagree with me. Watch the videos for the content, and then put down at the bottom why you agree, disagree, whatever. And then also on this video, tell me what you think about my story. I can also tell some, I can make up some more stories if you like those stories. Um, but this is a true one. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you when it's a real, like they're real stories, and when they're fake stories. I made up the fake story just because I was tired of. I was in a dark place after watching all these videos of hood warfare and kids reading about kids getting shot, and it's just a bad thing. So they do it, telling these stories every now and then, but you're probably gonna see like, you know, a few every few videos. Cause I like I like the positive like feedback on this one. It's a lot lighter subject. Like the crowd seems to be like more, just better to talk to. So yeah, comment, like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and then look for part 2 of this. It'll be coming like the next week or so, whenever I can like. Get with my friend and then have him sit down and tell his side of the story. And yeah, I might actually have at least one other interview. I'm gonna try and get like 2 interviews in there, but we'll see. I can't promise anything, but and it's on some serious topics. And I want to show you that the whole like my concept of like what the hood is not just my concept. It actually comes from talking to other people who have lived in the hood for most of their lives, and then also like my experiences, like dabbling in it. I was fortunate to not have to live in the hood, like well, for the majority of my life. There's like a short time frame, and then yeah, but have a good evening, and let me know what you think.